What's up guys, Josh here from Testing 1 to 3 Reviews, and I'm back with Lick of the Day. Okay guys, so Lick of the Day. Haven't done this segment in a while and I thought it'd be worthwhile doing, seeing as everybody's in lockdown at the moment. So this is something I posted on my Instagram earlier this week. It's basically, I had too much coffee and decided to throw all my influences into one phrase. So before we get started on that, I know I'll probably get lots of questions as to what sort of gear I'm using, so I'll go through everything for you right now. So picks. I am using the Tortex Flow 0.88mm. I kind of go between this one and the 73mm, the yellow ones, depending on the day really, but majority of the time I'm using these ones, similar to a Jazz 3 but a little bit bigger, which I like, and they have a good amount of flex in them. Guitar, this is my Warmouth Telecaster. It's got Boot Camp Series Brute Force humbuckers in it, which are from bare knuckle pickups. Guitar itself is a maple neck, maple fingerboard, flame maple top, swamp ash back, hardtail, volume tone, very simple. And then I'm going into a very small pedal board. The only pedals I'm using is a ISP Decimate Mini, just to reduce some of the hiss. BB preamp set up pretty much like a Ibanez Tube Screamer, so I've got the volume all the way up, gain and at zero, and then the EQ controls set at 12 o'clock. And then I've got an MXR carbon copy analog delay going through the effects loop with the Diesel Einstein on channel 2. And on the video on Instagram I did also use an MXR Phase 90 set to the traditional Van Halen setting of about 10 to 11 o'clock to get that kind of slow, half-cocked wah sort of sound. So my guitar is tuned down a whole step to D standard, and so I'll be referring to it as if it was in standard tuning, and the lick is in C minor or D minor, whatever way you want to look at it. I'll mainly focus on the intervals for that sort of thing. So theory-wise, I'm mainly utilising the blues scale, Dorian, probably a little bit of Mixolydian here and there, and technique-wise it's a lot of legato, hybrid picking, and some alternate picking as well, and a bit of tapping. So let's begin. Starting off on the 3rd fret on the 1st string, we're going to be doing this legato motif, which runs up diatonically. So we're going 3, 4, 5. And then we do the same thing at 5, 7, 8, 7, 8, 10, 8, 10, 12, and then 10, 12, 13, so all together slowly. And then we're on to the next part of the phrase, where I go down to the B string 13th fret and pick that, and then I'm hybrid picking the top E string to hit the root note again. This little descending pattern. Once I've hit that high E string, pull off from 13, 12 and 10 on the B string, down to the flat 5 on the 3rd string, and then a little hammer on and pull off to 10 and 12. So we got and then we just descend down to the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And then we're hammering back onto 10 and 12, doing this little arpeggio, and then 10th on the B string, 8 on the high E, 10, 12, hammering on, pulling off again, going down to the 7th, and then going down to the 10th on the B string, 8, 6, and then sliding down again to the 5th fret of the B string, 7th fret of the G, down to the 5, and then sliding back to the 7. So all together slowly, what we have. So you get the general idea of the sort of motifs that are going on. And then the next bit, starting on the 7th fret of the G, we are hammering on to 9 and 10, hammering off and pulling on, that's the wrong word, hammering on and then pulling off, yeah. And then hybrid picking the 8th fret of the B string, and then we do the same thing on the B string, which is 8, 9, 10, 8 on the high E string, and then we go up to the high E string, doing this little chromatic sequence, and then going back up to a minor shape. Tapping, so then we're hammering on 10, 12, 13, 15 with your pinky, tapping the 17th fret, sliding up to the 20th, and then back down to the 17th. Pulling all the way off, tapping the 17 again, bending the 12th fret up to the 13th, back down, pulling off to the 10th fret, and then a big bend on 13 to 15. So, from the arpeggio part. Okay, and then we slide all the way up to the 20th, bending to the 22nd on the B string. That was over bending. Catching the 20th fret on the high E and letting that ring out to get those nice harmonics. And then we're back down to the box shape of D minor pentatonic 1, and we're doing this Miracle Man lick from Zakk Wylde and Ozzy Osbourne days. So we're barring the 12th fret of the G and B string, doing a little slide up to the 13th with your 3rd finger barring, going down to the 10th fret, and then 12th and 10 on the D string. And then we're doing this little dominant dyad, so 9th fret of the D and 10th fret of the G, sliding into that, and then doing another big bend on that. And then the final part of this phrase is a kind of descending diminished thing. So the fingering for your right hand stays exactly the same throughout the entire thing, you're just going down chromatically. So starting at 10 and 14 on the G and B, going down to 9 and 12 on the G and B, and then you guessed it, go down to the 8th fret, and then 7th fret. And then I slide down to the minor 7, and then I do a bend from the 8th fret to the 10th fret, and then we're doing microtonal bends on the way back down. So that's a good exercise to work on your bending and intonation to get that kind of chromatic blues scale flavour in there, which is something that Guthrie Govan likes to do a lot, and many other players. So let's go from this bit here. Okay, so that's the entire phrase. I'm surprised I could remember the whole thing. So there are lots of parts in there that I'll play different to the way you do it, but that's the general gist of it, and it's kind of a good example of all the influences that I have of like Richie Kotzen, Zakk Wylde, Guthrie Govan, and Eddie Van Halen. The list goes on and on. So in its entirety, at a slower tempo, let's see what happens. And one more up to speed with the phase 19. So there you go. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that lesson. If there's any other things you'd like me to look at into detail and give a lesson on it, please leave a comment below in this video. Or another thing you can do is follow me on Instagram. It's always handy. Always plug. Because I post guitar stuff on there regularly, whether it be on my story or an actual post, and if there's anything specific riff-wise or lead-wise. That was my door closing in the wind. Just hit me up, a message, and I will do a lesson on it. Like and subscribe, share the video. Thank you very much. Goodbye.